Hi, here is video 2 on 813. So on this one, you draw your box, you'd have x squared here, negative 7 there. So you're looking for two things that would multiply to be negative 7x that add to be 5x. Now when you think about negative 7, when you go to multiply, since 7 is a prime number, the only thing that would work is a 1 and negative 7, or negative 1 and positive 7. And either way, when you put those together, you can't get 5. And so that one won't work. It's not factorable. Later on, I can teach you what to do to work on that, but not yet. On D, so we have 3m squared plus m minus 14. So you can make your generic rectangle. 3m squared goes here, negative 14 goes there. You multiply those to find out what has to multiply to be negative 42m squared, but then you needed to add to 1m. So this one, it was a little bigger, so I went ahead and wrote this out. So since we're looking at 42, it could be 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, 6 and 7. Now looking at the 6 and 7, one of them is going to have to be negative because it's multiplying to be a negative. That means that when you look at these two, they need to subtract to be 1. And so the big one's going to have to be the positive because this is positive. So 7m minus 6m is 1m. And I know we've been doing diamond problems for pretty much this whole year, so you're probably okay with that. So when you pull it aside, you know one's going to be 7m and one's going to be negative 6m. You want the 3, see one of these is going to have to be a 3. You want it to go to where it can be multiplied to get the negative 6m. You couldn't take the 3 to multiply to get 7 because there's not a whole number that would make that work. So the 3m has to go to where it can multiply to get negative 6m. What times 3m gives you that? Negative 2. And here, m times what would give you 7m? Well, that'd be 7. And then you can always double check to see that those two things multiply to be that. If it does, then you're good. So you get 3m plus 7 times m minus 2. Flipping it over on the back, let's look at special cases. So this is what we call a difference of squares. It doesn't look like a trinomial, but you could add a 0x in there to make it look like a trinomial. That way it would factor like what you're used to. And so you know the 9x squared goes here, and you know the negative 4 goes there. So what you would be looking for are two things that multiply to be negative 36x squared that could add to be a 0x. Since they have to add to be a 0x, you know you're doing a positive and a negative. 36, when you multiply, or when you factor it, you could use 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, or 6 and 6. But since they have to add to be 0, you know it'll be the 6 and negative 6. So you put those in the spots, and then you can factor it. So 9x squared, you can use 3x for both of those. And then you'll see that you'll have the 3x times 2 gives you 6x, and 3x times a negative 2 would give you that negative 6x. So the negative 2 times 2 is a negative 4. So you get 3x plus 2, 3x minus 2. Now this is called a difference of squares. So you may be able to see right here, if there's only two things that you're subtracting, if you can take the square root of the first one, which would be 3x, the square root of the second one, which would be 2, make one plus, make one negative, and then it can save you from having to do all of that. So this is called difference of squares. It works when you only have two numbers to factor, okay? Or if you can't catch it, you can always do it the long way. Tune in for video 3 next.